Hi, this is Josh Kucera, and I'm in Aktau, Kazakhstan, on the shore of the Caspian Sea, working on a project for the Pulitzer Center on Crisis Reporting on the militarization of the Caspian. What most people know about the Caspian is that it's been the site of some significant oil and natural gas reserves over the past 20 years, and that's made a lot of the countries around the sea quite rich, especially Azerbaijan, Kazakhstan, and Turkmenistan. And what we're starting to see over the last few years is that these countries are starting to try to protect the source of their wealth here in the Caspian by building up their navies. So those three countries, which gained independence only 20 years ago when the Soviet Union collapsed, they're building up their navies more or less from scratch, while the other two countries on the Caspian, Russia and Iran, are strengthening the navies that they already had here. And it's a situation that's really unprecedented in the history of the Caspian because for centuries Russia has been the dominant power here and has really been the only country that's had any kind of serious naval force. So what we're seeing now with five countries attempting to build up their navies and conducting an arms race, albeit a small one, to date is pretty unprecedented. It's a somewhat difficult story to report because the countries around the sea are dictatorships and they're quite secretive, and that's especially the case with military issues. There's also a kind of rhetoric around the Caspian that a lot of the governments use, that it's a sea of peace, and that the goal is demilitarization of the Caspian, even though that rhetoric is belied by the facts on the ground that these countries are buying ships and weapons for their navies. It's also a sensitive topic because none of the countries around the sea really want to admit to each other that they see each other as a threat. So if you ask them about why they're building up their navies, they generally tend to talk about the terrorist threat. This is unlikely, one, because there really hasn't been any indication of any terrorist intent to attack anything on the Caspian, and two, because in a lot of cases the weapons and the ships that these countries are buying are quite a bit more powerful than what you would really need to deter terrorists. So I'm here on this project kind of trying to get to the bottom of this story to figure out what's really behind the naval buildup. So I'm reporting from Astana, from an arms show. Astana is the capital of Kazakhstan. From here in Aktau, which is the country's main naval base, the naval headquarters, and also from across the sea in Baku, which is the capital of Azerbaijan and also its main naval base. So I hope you enjoy and stay tuned.